Alrighty, we are back. Your favorite podcast show of the week. This is Location Weekly. It's episode number 537. We're recording live on October the 5th. And as you can see, it's not just Aubriana and I this week. We have Karsten with us from the LBMA's European operations, who's actually here in Toronto with me. We're just sitting in two different offices now. But yeah, great to have Karsten part of the team. And yeah, how are you doing?
It's amazing. After 22 months, just say hello to everybody. Yeah, good to have me on the show. Thanks for this. But it's totally heartwarming to be here again. First intercontinental flight since 22 months. You remember times we were traveling on a monthly basis through the continents? That is horrible. So it's great here. I love the people. I love all you guys, and it's different to speak to people in person than to make this Zoom calls. This is nice. This is a good way to connect all over the world. But at the end of the day, we are human beings. We have to make social contacts. We have to feel and all the things around that. So it's good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. Aubriana, how are you doing this week?
Well, I'm good. I'm glad that we have three country representation here today. I'm super excited to have that, and it's fun. And I'm just sad though that I'm here still and you guys are there. So it's still virtual hugs.
You have an open invitation anytime. You can come up.
We need to make that happen sometime soon for sure. I agree with you, Karsten. We need that face-to-face interaction, a screen can only do so much.
Yeah. So anyhow, we'll jump right into it. We have a good show for you this week. We're kind of upping it to 5 stories and a mixture of sort of brand stories and technology, some European-based stuff that Karsten will kind of comment on, and a bunch of just other kind of wide variety of different ways location tech or data or retail experiences are happening. So I'll let Aubriana start us off with our first story.
All right. Well, we are, into fall now, and we are getting into that season where it's time to set up Halloween decorations or fall decorations, Thanksgiving decorations, whatever it may be. All of those encompass pumpkins, right? And Uber Eats is rolling out pumpkin delivery across 3 different cities. So they partnered up with the Holiday Shop by Mr. Jack-O-Lantern Pumpkin Patch. This is only in Los Angeles, San Diego, and West Palm Beach happening right now. But you can order pumpkins in different sizes and colors, pumpkin carving kits, and all those, some other Halloween items through Uber Eats and have those delivered if you're in one of those cities. We should probably keep an eye out. They say that they will be doing some more holiday items coming after that. Maybe they'll expand to some other cities. We'll see. But they'll probably pivot to Christmas items and maybe even some Hanukkah items. I don't know. We'll find out. But, definitely something that people are excited to do. I know I decorated a little bit for Halloween this weekend. But I got to tell you guys, here in New York, my little bit of decoration was put to shame very, very quickly. My kids were like, man, hello, ours is not looking like that. So maybe I need to figure out how to up the ante here. But yeah, I think this is fun. Uber Eats is definitely trying to connect with consumers, meet them where they are for a variety of different reasons. Only 3 cities here. It's not really that big of a reach. Rite Aid had this announcement with Uber Eats just about a week ago where they were rolling out some different healthcare items across, over 2,000 locations. Now that's kind of what I'm talking about here. And 17 states, that's a little bit more exciting, right? So they're also doing some new collaboration with convenience stores, a service called Lula to expand the footprint as well. They just announced that a couple weeks ago. So lots coming out of Uber Eats, a lot of opportunities to deliver things. And as we were just talking about at the beginning of the show, I think that it is still somewhat people are, hesitant to go out in public places a lot to date. That still continues that, for different reasons. And then there's also, I think now, we were talking about, just time, right? You think that, we're getting all this time back because we're not commuting or we're working from home. And I think that's actually not the case. We're busier than ever. We're working harder than ever, right? So the convenience factor is definitely something that we all need. So whether that's for decorations or healthcare goods or food, grocery items, like that's not going away. And I think Uber Eats is just trying their hand at a bunch of different things to see what sticks. But yeah, I think this is good. You know, I'm not super excited about 3 cities, as I mentioned. I do think that holiday items are cool, but pumpkins are kind of something you need to pick out yourself, right? Like if you're going to be carving it, you kind of want to have eyes on it, like produce a little bit. But anyways, I mean, I think it's good. It's not that exciting, but I do just think that we're going to continue to see more and more collaborations, more and more quick delivery of a variety of goods and services, just because that's the day and age we live in.
Yeah, and I think that's well said, right? And there's nothing technologically, interesting or innovative about what they're doing. I think it kind of plays right into that sort of time convenience, sort of equation that we're all dealing with right now. And Uber Eats has evolved over the last year during the whole pandemic. We've talked about partnerships with 7-Eleven, convenience store type of delivery, sort of going beyond just food and restaurants, into these other areas, and whether that's pumpkins or Christmas trees, I know there was some experimentation around that in past years as well. But there's definitely sort of this idea of I'm time starved, I'm busy, I'm gonna use these services to get stuff brought to me, and I think there's something to that. I think for me though, this is one of those things, and sort of like Christmas trees too, where at least if you, especially if you're a young family or whatever with kids and whatnot, like don't you really want to go to the pumpkin patch and kind of like pick your own pumpkin and like it's a day trip and or pick your own tree and cut it down and all of that, right? Like I think there is something to Karsten's comment right at the beginning, like we've been living with this for a long time now, not seeing each other in person, even within your own family unit within your own home environment, like that human contact, that experiential part of things, I think is really important. And so I'm like, when I see things like this being brought into Uber Eats, like it's one thing to say, okay, I want my groceries delivered or I want my food delivered. That's not necessarily the same thing as, I'm now having my pumpkin delivered. And like, to me, that's something you got to go do in person. So that's my thoughts on it. Anyhow, all right. Transitioning over to our second story, we'll let Karsten kind of lead this one for us as it's out of Europe. And over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Amazon shops are not nice. So have you been on the website of Amazon? So they're super successful, but it's not nice there. So you not feel heartwarming. It's not very super nice way of show the products and the recommendations. So Lancome showed up with a virtual pop-up store with a company called ByondXR. So this is a virtual shopping platform, and Lancome UK tried it out since February this year and getting customer engagement increased about 350% only by showing real-time visualization products in 3D hyper realistic. So this is kind of advertising, but the story behind that is that the online shop from Lancome, the pop-up shop. So this is, I think, the first thing we have to talk about. So it's pop-up, it wasn't there, and it will be gone in a short period of time. So they tried it since February. Now we have October. Okay, is that a pop-up store? Don't know. Anyway, so it's not closed any. And what they do is they show products in very good quality, especially in this kind of area, the companies. And it's more about, we're back to feel haptics and interaction and people explaining this color is right for your skin and all those things. And perhaps, well, it would work very well for them. Anyhow, it is a new way of pimping your online store and make it more, this 3D experience, maybe from games or other topics around. So into this, we used to use Amazon, and it's not nice there. So there must be a transition, and customers like it, obviously. But I'm not sure if it's really a pop-up store. Also, it's kind of marketing. So what's your thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's your first point of is what is the definition of a pop-up store? Like, is that something that's a day, a week, a month? At this point, it's February to
They say
October.
February to now.
It's becoming pretty permanent. So like, I question that, but the sort of the use of this type of technology, this sort of visualization and experiential kind of play around the products and kind of bringing sort of something that's visually interesting and appealing and can connect with an audience. I like it. I think that as you say, like contrasting to Amazon, it's just a marketplace where you can buy stuff at the cheapest possible price and get it shipped to you, right? This is about connecting with the consumer, helping sort of build a relationship between the brand and that consumer, and creating something that is sort of has some impact on them at an emotional level, right? And I think this is where I get excited about technology, because technology shouldn't be about the technology. It should be how you use the technology to create experiences, to create connections, to create a way for the brand and that consumer to be linked, right? And so I think it does a good job in that. I mean, they talked about 350% increase in engagement.
Customer engagement, that was a thing, yeah.
Yeah, 350% customer engagement since they launched these virtual stores. So like, I mean, that's a big number, right? People are obviously doing it and connecting with this. So I like it, and I like that there's some gamification to it. There's different aspects of how you can participate with these beauty panels and these influencers and these experts, and personalized consultations and things like that. So they're really sort of using the tech to kind of facilitate this way to build these bridges to these consumers. And so I think it's good. And as we'll talk about a little bit later, this whole idea of AR and virtual reality and these types of technologies are now really becoming mainstream for a lot of brands, and we're seeing more and more of that. So yeah.
Let's see how that works.
Yeah. All right. On to our third story now. So this one is kind of digging into the member base on the tech side. Longtime LBMA member and location tech company Reveal Mobile has made an acquisition of a company called MIRA, MIRA. For those of you not familiar, they're a solution provider around measurement of out of home. And in particular, they, as part of this sort of acquisition and sort of combination of Reveal and MIRA, they had simultaneously announced that the first sort of joint customer of the new platform is Lyft, as in the rideshare company. And Lyft has, on a number of their vehicles, are equipped with rooftop digital out-of-home screens. And so essentially what they're doing is now they're sort of blending the Reveal Mobile sort of location data attribution sort of platform with the measurement technology from MIRA around out of home, and kind of looking at that sort of ability to sort of just get a better understanding of where these vehicles are going, and who their paths are intersecting with, and what the audience around that looks like. And so this becomes an interesting, sort of joint offering, if you will, between the now, sort of blended in MIRA inside of Reveal Mobile, which I think is very interesting to see them sort of segment now into this category. And, Aubriana will know, like, for the last number of weeks, we've been talking about out-of-home measurement, right, using various location technology companies and platforms. So we're seeing a lot of partnerships, and now we're seeing consolidation or acquisition, in this space, which I think is really interesting, especially to see a company like Reveal move into this. So John Franjakis is now, who's coming from the MIRA side, will become the Chief Commercial Officer at Reveal, and Gabe Franjakis will become the CTO at Reveal. All the employees from MIRA are being retained as part of the acquisition. So, basically they're, Reveal's just, grown significantly through this acquisition in terms of people and resources and capability. And I think it's interesting. What are your thoughts, Brianna?
Yeah, I do. I actually think this is a great acquisition for Reveal, because I think that as we see the ability to really capture robust and scalable location data from mobile devices, it is really important that you can at least have that reach maybe across devices. And I think this is a perfect application for Reveal to get into, because when you think about everyone who gets into a lift has location enabled on their device to some extent, right? They need that lift to get to them. Now, whether that data is being shared with Reveal or not, we would consider probably a portion of it is. But I think that it's really interesting to be able to say, okay, we're going to be able to blend this out of home data along with the inside data that we have, right? And the movement data that we have. And this is, again, we talk about measurement. Everybody's kind of on this road to attribution. Like, how do we measure the effectiveness of out of home and in conjunction with other digital means? So this is, in my mind, a very great move by Reveal. Obviously, bringing on, someone who has Lyft as a key customer is a big deal. And I think that also having maybe more of that New York presence is helpful to them, but probably able to still keep some of their overhead low with their Raleigh base. So, I'm excited for Brian and his team. We've known them for a long time. And I expect bigger things to come out of this, and them to continue to kind of push forward and see like what else they can do to merge that cross-device measurement and attribution. So I like it.
Yeah, me too. And so sort of sticking with that theme of out-of-home measurement, we'll move to our next story now over in Europe, and I'll let Karsten lead us off on this one. I think you're muted, Karsten.
Yeah, I'm muted. Sorry. This is what happens on Zoom calls, Anyhow, so so advertising is following you. So maybe this is a good way to explain what Kantar UK did now with Route together. So they both fuse data sets, and now you can have all data sets in one platform, and adding 450 different data points to make capable for the client, the advertiser, to play out advertisement in different channels around you. So starting with just traditional radio, print, TV, going into out-of-home media, and this advertisement can follow you through that. And now it's enabled, so Kantar is enabling this kind of survey and idea to make it more interesting to see the advertisement on a target group as before. So anyhow, it's about data. It's about where's the people, where's the consumer I want to attract, where's the advertisement, therefore, on which channel I can use. And what they do now is they combine it in one booking platform where you can say, right, as an advertiser, I want to follow this kind of consumer in this way on this media channel. So it's kind of a bit of what we had with Lyft. So we know that the people are in the car, have their mobile data on and location services on. So combining this data is very, very interesting. Question is it working really or not? I'm not sure, because as long as the campaigns are so complex, and we talked about that in a couple of conferences, Asif and Brianna, more data means more complexity in rolling out your campaign and your strategy. And I'm not sure if they can help with that. Just make sure TGI, for those who are not familiar with that, means a target group index. And there's a global target group index by Kantar, which is in 6 continents and gives more than, 100 or whatever, measurement points out of it. Anyhow, so what do you thought about that?
So now I'm unmuting. So, I think this is interesting. Like, again, this goes back to some of the same comments I had on the reveal story, right? Everyone is in the advertising space is looking to have data to back their advertising spend and those decisions. For a long time, everybody has been very focused on, the industry has been very focused on deterministic data. And how can we make sure that we are doing things in a deterministic way versus a probabilistic way? And now there's a new perspective on that, because deterministic data is not going to be available at scale. So I think that's one thing that we have to call out here. Also, I think that the challenge we're going to see continuing is that, is this first party data or is this aggregated data and insights, right? How is this clustered? Is this being something that's clustered out to an entire postal code, or is this something that is a little bit more granular and makes more sense? So I think that that's the question, but all advertisers are really on this mission to solve for like data analytics, attribution, measurement, make these decisions, and their money, pouring it into the right avenues. I think it's a race to be the first right now. And so, joining forces is one way to do that. These companies obviously having a strong presence in, I believe, UK and Ireland is great, because that's a harder arena to get into at this point in time with all of the privacy stipulations. So if they're doing well there, and I think they have a respected name, I think that's a good start. But again, I do think the challenge will be the deterministic data, the scale and reach, and moving things across device and connecting those. Because again, people are trying to say, okay, I served this ad across connected television, and then they saw it again, this digital out of home, advertising, and then they took action. So that's really what they're trying to study and measure. And it's not an easy thing to do. And so, I think it's really up to some level of like, how good do they market what their data practices are, and how great they have, this algorithm that determines things and clusters things together. It really is going to come down to that, because at the end of the day, there's not really a one size fits all for this reach that we're all desiring, right? And the outcome every advertiser and marketer is looking for. So I think it's a good partnership. Whether it actually is solving for the longer term problem, that's the question. All right, so maybe moving on to something a little bit lighter and not so data centric. Etsy is launching a virtual AR showroom. I was checking it out this morning. So it is called the Etsy House. And in essence, you just move through this augmented reality, or you can tap on different things within the home, see how things look, and it's very curated experience. You can see this art hanging and which shop you could get it at, this, very unique coffee table and children's chairs and Christmas trees and all different kinds of things. And you can just kind of have that experience. It's on a website. You can just check it out. If you just search for the Etsy House or the etsyhouse.com, you can just pull it right up and just jump right into this immersive experience. And, it's cute. It's on brand for Etsy, but at the same time, it makes me feel like there's a bit of a miss here. And what I would say that miss is that there is so many shops on Etsy. There are so many small businesses that are running through there, and just a ton of creativity. And I think that, with showing me the $5,000 armchair that's super cool and unique, and, the $3,000 coffee table, that's great. But I would love to see more of an experience that kind of brings in all of those other shops that sell lots of other similar things at various price points, right? I would love to see more of that. And I think that what people really want right now is easier shopping, right? I want to know, what do I buy a 3-year-old for Christmas? I want to know, what do I buy my mother for Christmas? I want to know, what do I buy somebody who's interested in these items for their birthday? Like, that's what what is the Hanukkah go-to gift for, my dad? Like, that's kind of what you need to, I think, bring in. And I also think that, similar to the pop-up shops that we were talking about, there is a lot of people who want to go out and see those experiences. We were just talking last week about how can a company like Etsy have these kind of curated cars that come to your neighborhood, and you do this $10, 10-minute shopping on a variety of price points right there, curated maybe by local shop providers. Like, that's kind of I think, such a more impactful thing than this. This is fun. It's fun use of AR technology, but does it actually drive business, and is it rewarding for the small businesses that all utilize the Etsy platform? I'm not sure. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, so I'll jump in first. I think I'm with you. I think visually it's a really cool experience. I think it really drives home sort of the creativity, the uniqueness of what you can find on Etsy that you can't find in other places. It's funny that like this story came up this week because you and I were talking last week, Aubrianne, on the show about the the service where you could call up a mobile retail store to be drive into your neighborhood, and we had closed out that that story about talking about how great that would be if that was a mobile Etsy shop that was curated from local artisans and local creators. In the local community, where they had a showcase all of a sudden, like a physical showcase on wheels that could drive into your neighborhood and you could go shop, right? And I think to me that's more interesting and more would drive more revenue and drive more sort of engagement than something like this. And there's nothing wrong with this. Like I think this is good. I think visually it's really interesting. It's a great way to showcase, but I think you need, I always talk about these things as like, how do you bridge, the commerce aspect of it, with sort of the media, impressions side of things, right? If you look at social media platforms like, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those kinds of things, they're great. And it's fine to go and say, hey, I have, 1 million or 2 million or 5 million, people who follow me on this platform, but I could care less unless I have a way to know that I'm converting a percentage of those people into actual revenue in dollars and some place for them to actually, engage with me. And I think, the power of local, has to be about how you bring this into the community, into where people are, both in a consumer sort of shopping context, but also from a local artisans, and kind of creating the sort of have Etsy be the bridge that brings those two together, right? Because I think once you buy something from somebody, like let's say a local artisan in your community, you now have a relationship. And it goes back to what Carson said right at the beginning. It's about, there needs to be a human element to me, right, in this. Because once you do that, then you're like, all of a sudden, hey, I really like this person. I really like what they create. I'm going to buy something else from them. And now a relationship continues. It's why we have the success of things like Tupperware parties and these kinds of things that work, because people have built these connections in their communities, right? Carson, any last thoughts from you?
Totally agree on this. So it's about relationship. It's about us as a person, humans, yeah. And this is so strong. No technology can just do the same what we can do. Technology can help us to spread the word and help us to connect people on an easy way. And yeah, that's fun that technology is able to do those things. But can everybody use it? Is on the other side of the screen, is there somebody who is able to do it, or is this the right target group also? Or think about all the people are using this kind of services. We find it's cool. Maybe our kids say it's not cool because it's not on TikTok. So we're not reaching them. So we're talking about that, but my kids are definitely not want to use it because it's not on TikTok. So fine. So technology helps us and not, is a solution.
I'm glad that you brought up the Tupperware parties though, Esty, because that's exactly where I was going. I'm like, Etsy should just have like Etsy parties where, you don't have to go to someone's house to like just buy Tupperware. Like I could go and there's, this truck parked out front and like we just stand out there and have a glass of wine and I can do my Christmas shopping at my neighbor's house really quick. And then it's like an hour-long thing and that everybody gets what they want. I don't have to buy the candle or the plastic Tupperware. Like maybe that's not really in my wheelhouse, but I can support, right? So I love that. That's a great,
So I think right there, we just came up with a new business. So whenever you guys are ready, let's put it together and we'll do the Etsy local parties, and make it happen. I'm in.
not. There are
Count me in.
available right now. Free. I heard.
All right.
To do those kinds of events.
Yeah. Anyhow, all right. Well, thank you guys for participating in this today, and Karsten, especially to you for joining us for this show and here in person in Canada. So great to have you. So again, for our listeners and our viewers out there, this has been episode number 537 of Location Weekly. We thank you so much for your time. Please reach out to us if you have story ideas or feedback on this. Give us some likes and some love on whatever channel you're consuming this on. And we'll be back next week with 538. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye.